really the mystery is about in all these is friendship, and who can you really trust, who makes a good friend. And even though some of the things that happen to these girls in this book don't happen to us, the emotions feel as big, I think, in adolescence. So I'm reading a chapter about Hannah. This is from a later book, so it gives away a little bit in case some of you are planning to read. But sorry about that. The notes from A had begun to plague Hannah. She didn't want to believe that this new A was real, but what if what the note said was true? What if Kate was as diabolical as Mona was, and this was all a well-laid plan to ruin Hannah's life? Slowly, she let her mind creep on the intricate details of her and Mona's friendship, or maybe enemyship. They'd become friends in 8th grade, after Allie had been missing for months. Mona had been the one who'd approached Hannah, complimenting her D&G sneakers and the David Yermith bracelet she'd gotten for her birthday. Hannah was weirded out at first. Mona was a dork, after all, but eventually, she'd seen beyond Mona's exterior. Besides, she needed a new BFF. But maybe Mona was never her BFF. Maybe she had been waiting for the precise moment to take Hannah down, to get revenge for all the horrible things Hannah and her friends had said to her. It was Mona who cut Hannah off from her old friends, and it was Mona who had further perpetuated the animosity with Naomi and Riley. Hannah considered trying to make amends with them after Allie was presumed dead, but Mona said absolutely not. Naomi and Riley were strictly B-listers, and they should have nothing to do with them. It was Mona, too, who first suggested that they shoplift, telling Hannah it would give her such a high. And then there were the things Mona had pulled off as A. Mona had had it so easy with Hannah. She was witness to so many of Hannah's blunders. Who had been sitting next to Hannah the night she'd totaled Sean Acker's father's BMW? Who had been with Hannah when she'd gotten busted for shoplifting from Tiffany? Her feet sank to random pockets of slush, but she kept running. Everything else Mona had done gushed into her mind, as sloppy and uncontrollable as champagne fizzing from an uncorked bottle. Mona and A had sent her that child-sized court dress, knowing Hannah would wear it to Mona's birthday party, and the dress's seams would burst. Mona and A had gleefully sent Hannah that note that Sean was with Foxy with Aria, knowing for sure that Hannah would rush back to Rosewood and chew Sean out, ruining her dinner with her dad, and making her stepsister, Kate, look like the perfect, obedient little daughter yet again. Hannah's stomach turned over. She lunged to the edge of the trail and threw up into the grass. Tears came to her eyes and her throat burned. She felt so lost and lonely. She had no idea anymore what in her life was true and what wasn't.
Hi. Skins is about a 17-year-old girl named Leah who gets into a terrible car accident, and the only way to save her life is to download her brain into a mechanical body. So, science fiction. And the mechanical body looks almost human, but not quite. So she has to go back into her old life and see the way all of her friends and family and boyfriend react to her, and feeling like she's this total freak now, and she's a certain person inside, but she looks completely different, and it's, this scene that I'm going to read is about her first encounter with her boyfriend, which is actually an autobiographical, sort of autobiographical coming-of-age story from my own life, even though I'm not a robot, so it's poetic interpretation. And the boyfriend's name is Walker. No one knew me better than Walker, but when I curled a hand around his wrist, he jerked away. Sorry, I stepped back. No, it's fine. It wasn't. I shouldn't have. He shouldn't have. No, really, Walker finally stepped into the room, edging around me as he passed, careful not to touch the body. He sat in my desk chair, back straight, feet flat on the floor, arms crossed, hugging his chest. I dropped back down on the bed and waited. I'm very glad you're all right, he said finally, like he was passing along a message from his mother to some old lady who'd broken her hip, like he'd been rehearsing. I risked a smile. I'd been rehearsing too. I missed you. You too. He stared down at the floor. His hair was longer than I'd ever seen it, almost to his shoulders, like one of those retros. I wanted to smooth it back. I wanted to stand behind him and bury my face in it, resting my cheek against the back of his head, wrapping my arms around his shoulders, letting him grip my hands in his. But I stayed where I was. It's pretty, he said. I mean, you're pretty, now, like this. You don't have to lie. He shifted in his seat. No, it's just, I guess I thought you'd look a little more like, I don't know, I thought you'd look more like me? But as soon as I said it, I knew that wasn't what he'd meant. It didn't look like me, not anymore. Now it was the hair that was the wrong color and texture and wasn't even hair, just a synthetic weave that was grafted on and would never grow. The nose was too small, the eyes too wide, the fingers the wrong thickness, the wrong length, the teeth too straight and too bright, the mouth bigger, the ears smaller, the body taller and too symmetrical, too well proportioned, too perfect. But it wasn't that. I knew what he wanted to say, I knew him too well. I thought you'd look more human. And I saw the body again like I'd seen it for the first time, like he was seeing it. The skin smooth and waxy and even peachy tone stretched out over the frame without sag or blemish. The way it moved with awkward jerks, always too slow or too fast. The stranger's face with dead eyes, pale blue irises encircling the false pupils, and in the center of the black, pinpricks of light, flashing and dimming as the lens sucked up images. The eyes that didn't blink unless I remembered to blink them. The chest that neither rose nor fell unless I pretended to breathe. The body that wasn't a body, his girlfriend, the machine.